I'm back. I am back. Let's see if this is running. Yes, it is. So, today we're going to be reacting to Penguin Zone, the one and only. Because I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Stop Killing Games, what's going on. And I want to get a full lore on this because, you're just reading some stuff online, you don't get everything. So, today we're going to be going full in on Stop Killing Games. Stop Killing Games. We're going to start with Penguin Zone and then we'll probably read other stuff that's basically important and what's going on with Pirate Software Gaming and that guy being hated a lot. I've been seeing his drama, what's his going on, but people seems to hate him. But he seems like a cool guy. Like he's a game developer. He worked for Blizzard, but that's like the one thing that people liked him about. But other than that, he sounds like a complete asshole. So today we will see stop killing games, why it is important, and why you should support it, and why we all should support it. Let's go. Oops. First video, Benguizo, stop killing games. Let's go.
Is right here, pal. Ah, tough guy. You feeling lucky?
Oh, whoa, whoa,
Yeah, that's
whoa.
right.
Okay, you never able to predict an intro from Penguizo, man. This guy's intros are so out of the world. It his intros are so, I don't know how to say, it's stupid but funny. You like it, you love it, but you try to talk like him a lot when you try to do a streaming or a YouTube, but you won't do it. It's a unique skill. Dude has a unique skill to talk like that, man. Your brain does not work like his does. This is crazy. So let's start with the greatest intro of all time.
Spirit Fingers. Do you know why?
What?
Because it's been about 30 hours since I last slept, and I've done 3 different intros, all of which crash and burned, and I am off my gourd, so now I'm going wacko mode.
Okay, I think this is the fourth intro then. Now you understand why his intros are fucking crazy.
But, even in my sleep deprived state, I am still lucid enough to recognize how cattywampus the AAA gaming space has become. Like, the gaming industry has so many things that I have bitched and moaned about. Probably the biggest practice that I've been most vocal about, not exactly shy on, is the topic of you will own nothing and be happy. The Ubisoft motto. God rest that
Ooh.
company's soul. What a pile of dog shit. But it's not just Ubisoft. That has become a prevalent business
Okay,
strategy.
as long as I know Ubisoft is crashing down. They are going down. Man, everybody hates them. I mean, I was never a fan of their art, that their style, even though I enjoyed some of the games. It just like it doesn't impress you that much. But lately it's been worse, I think. People are hating it even more. The bigger game studios from Japan and Europe are doing better than the American ones.
Strategy across the gaming industry. You will own nothing. You will be happy. You're basically you come away with the idea of ownership of whatever games you purchase. I've worn this topic out more than a fleshlight in a frat house, but it is something I am very passionate about. The gaming industry is getting away with more and more garbage where they'll take a shit in your mouth and you're expected to thank them for adding some flavor to your taste buds. It's terrible. And there is an
Wow.
initiative that has been aiming to fight back against a lot of these practices that I
Okay.
think really need some big overhaul. And it's an initiative that I think a lot of you are probably very familiar with. It's called Stop
Stop
Killing
killing
Games.
games.
And I've
Okay.
followed it since its inception. I've talked about it on stream quite a few times, though this is my first video going over it. And I regret that now because I see it wasn't going as well as I thought it was. Admittedly, I didn't follow how successful the initiative was, only that it was aiming to do good for consumers, and that it was taking proper steps legally to get there, and it was going through all of the right channels. And now today I watched a video from the guy that's spearheading this. His name is Ross. He posted a video called The End of Stop Killing Games where he's giving an update on where everything's at and how it's kind of at the finish line here with a lot of
I think it got completely signed up yesterday, so I think it's kind of a success now.
failure to
After all these awareness videos from every creator that I know on the internet, Aspen Gold, they talked about it, and many other streamers were talking about it. And I think Penguin, Moist was the first guy to make a complete video. Like, even if I search just stop killing games, the first video pops up is this one. That's why I'm starting with this one.
show for it with only a few other chances to fight back. Now, before getting into the weeds on the topic, I want to get this in the beginning because I imagine the vast majority of people won't watch the whole thing. I'm putting a link to the full video on Stop Killing Games, as well as a link to where you'd go to help support the Stop Killing Games initiative, because there's only a little bit of time left for the most important parts of it now that it's at the end. So if you know what the movement is and want to support it but didn't know where, the resources are in the description, or if you want to get it right from like the source, I have a link to his video. But I want to go into it myself here because it is a topic that I do feel very strongly about. But for those that don't know anything about Stop Killing Games, I'm going to let him explain it in his own words, so that way you can get an actual, correct, informed explanation of what the initiative is. And the reason I say it like that, kind of like fucking all, pinky out, snooty, is because a lot of people don't even really know what this is.
Yep,
because
I'm one of them.
people like Pirate Software completely misrepresenting what the initiative was.
As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
I'll pause right there. The simplest, bare bones, birthday suit, butt-ass naked explanation for what this is. Stop destroying things that people have paid money to own. I think that is a very understandable, very reasonable take. Very agreeable. Now I want to quickly jump.
Okay, I never thought about that. Most of the time when I play a game that's basically looks good, I don't care if it's popular or not. I would play it, and then all of a sudden, after a couple of years, you don't play it. But then you hear a mail or a tweet that they're shutting down the servers. You go back, you play a little bit, and then you just give up. But yeah, I mean, I did pay for it, and now we can't play it anymore. That's yeah, I never thought about it. Wow.
To a different spot in this video because I think it's
Maybe, I mean, it was so manipulative. Like the companies, they make it so that it's such a sad thing. Oh, we have to shut it down, and you would just give up. But this is a great initiative. Like you should be able to keep playing the games that you paid for.
important to have this in the beginning because it's something a lot of people have heard that comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's the Pirate Software portion. Ross is addressing the video Pirate Software made many months ago. Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because he didn't want to be seen as using this for drama farming, because it would start to make the movement look less of like a legitimate initiative and more of just like drama slop content type thing. But he finally starts talking about Pirate Software here because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative and it's not looking promising, so he's willing to do anything to try and set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement, because the damage Pirate Software did to it through his video was substantial.
This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then, except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. Ford does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games
No.
to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists, instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QTEs and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single player only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. Like, yeah, that is included in all of this, but that's not like what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, Pirate Software is stun-locked on that, like fixated as if that is the actual like meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single player, always online
I don't know
connectivity
why.
games.
I don't know why Pirate Software is defending this. I don't understand why. I mean, he did work for a huge company. Maybe he has like a few insights. I don't know what's his reason for this.
When that's just not what it
Because when you're working in a big company as an artist, you understand certain stuff. Like I'm being who has worked in a lot of big movies, and when I get to see like like couple of years back the AI writers protest, that was really damaging for the VFX artists because we didn't get any job. People are getting laid off. I took a lot of pay cuts because of that. Even though I get it, the AI doesn't you don't want AI to be the making most content and people will lose job, but because of the initial protest in Hollywood from the writers, a lot of VFX artists started losing their jobs, and they wanted to stop protesting about it, but at the end, it's still going on. The VFX industry is still on the downfall because of it. The COVID hit was really bad. I think after the AI, I mean today the implementation of AI is getting in. Like a lot of VFX studios are buying in AI softwares. They're training to make content out of it instead of they're basically replacing artists from with specific you know skill artists to trying to replace them with AI tools now. It's getting easier and easier. Even though, but people in our VFX industry has basically said like, look, it's just this is how business happens. You cannot just say like we're gonna just completely exclude AI out of this and move on. No, AI is gonna be a tool, and people will have to change. And I think gaming industry has to do something about it. And I'm not saying this is AI replacing. I'm not saying this is the same thing, but you need to understand that people who have worked inside the studio has different perspective on things. Maybe Pirate Software could have a different perspective that would say what he's right, but here he looks like he's just misrepresenting what they are actually talking about. So feels sinister, but I mean, I kind of understand why he's saying, why he's doing it, right?
it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting. It is about the whole practice of destroying games that consumers have already purchased and having no end of life plans for games that are being sunset. So, for example, The Crew. The Crew is an example everyone is going to reference and talk about because Ubisoft is still currently in a lawsuit battling against it for what happened with this game. I've yapped about it quite a bit, so I'm not just going to regurgitate that. I'm sure a lot of you already know this story about it. But basically, you buy The Crew, Ubisoft pulls the plug on the servers, you can't play The Crew anymore. Now it's just an old wet dream of what once was. And they are facing a lawsuit. And while this is in the umbrella of Stop Killing Games, it is
Okay, I don't know why Pirate Software would defend that. You know, I want his reasons. I hope he talks out about it. Like, why does he uh trying to kill Stop Killing Games movement?
not the only thing Stop Killing Games is referencing when it comes to this practice. Pirate Software
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just business, right? It doesn't matter. They had to make profits to keep going. Maybe doing that will bring them more money. Maybe that's the only way they can make profit out of it. Maybe I don't know why they're doing it though.
we're so hung up on it being single player games that people lose access to, when that is a component of it, but not the entire focus.
Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support.
That's a really good point. Um, yeah, the end of life plans. Go back. Let's go back. Initiative that to require video game publishers to implement end of life plans when shutting down games they have sold, so customers can continue. This is really good initiative. I don't know why they don't have it. Again, it comes from the business perspective. There might be something that they don't want to keep going about. Maybe like, what if people get fixated on it? They don't want to play another game. Maybe they come up with a new game. They don't want it because the old one is better. So they give up. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand. But he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single player.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game.
I don't think you can continue a multiplayer game like that. Like any MMOs that are like Valorant and some shit like that, you cannot like keep going after the server is shut down. It is what it is. That's why I think the game is free. I mean, the skins, it's up to you to buy the skins. That's why the game is free. I think. When the game shut down, you don't lose a lot except for the skins. You can keep. I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do with the skins after the game shut down? So it's still up to you.
That's what they're asking.
Maybe if you're gonna pay for the game, you're supposed to have it, even if the server shut down.
No.
Because they would.
I mean, even the MMO games are just subscription based, right? You pay for it to play for a month, a few months, or a year. That's it. After that, you had to pay it again. I don't think what Pirate is trying to say here.
Have to sunset live service games as a
Because base games are always free.
single player experience.
Maybe you can make the base game a single player game and let people play them. That's it. Just shut down the multiplayer options.
Idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
This part is more confusing than Finnegan's
Okay,
Wake.
probably not then.
Because nowhere in anything on Stop Killing Games has this even been like a talking point from anyone besides Pirate Software. I don't know where he pieced this puzzle together. Like I don't get it. Like if I'm gonna try and like really reach here and give like a charitable explanation for this take, maybe he's extrapolating based on the idea that if publishers have to have end-of-life plans for their games, that includes MMOs, where once the game is getting sunset, you're pulling the plug on it, you would then need to turn the game over to the community in a playable state, an accessible state, like give the code to them. Thus, it'd turn it into a single-player experience, so the onus would be on the developers to rebalance their game to be a single-player experience for them? I guess. I have no idea. That still just doesn't make any sense, but maybe that's the tree he's barking up with that thought process. I really don't know, because Stop Killing Games at no point ever says any of these multiplayer games need to be converted to single player. That really is outlandish. And the more I think about it, like the more nonsensical it becomes, because even in Pirate Software's hypothetical fanfic there, why would the developers need to rebalance the game? They would just turn over the code to the community and just it'd be in that state. They're no longer responsible for balancing the game. That's the whole point. They're not indefinitely supporting it. They would just be responsible of leaving the game in an accessible state to the community while they would shut down the servers on their end. Like, they wouldn't need to go back through with a whole development team and, like, you know, tweak the game to be single player compatible. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I
didn't know you could do that.
Do not understand that one. But apparently a lot of people latched on to that talking point from Pirate Software as something that Stop Killing Games was asking for and how unreasonable it was. Which, if that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable. But that's not what it's asking for.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague And because of that, it will impact.
I don't think it's vague.
He
It's
never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is once again just reinforcing that he doesn't know what the Stop Killing Games movement is about, but I have to just show you this because it is so fast.
okay. At this point, I think he's just trying to put this down. He's not trying to understand it at all. I think he knows it, and he's trying to put it down.
Fascinating because he himself literally calls out that Stop Killing Games at no point explicitly mentions single player always online games or anything like that. And for some reason, instead of following the breadcrumbs that would naturally lead him to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe, because it's absent here, that's not what this is actually about. Instead, he uses it as a criticism against the Stop Killing Games initiative entirely, saying it's just too vague, it's way too vague. The reason it is not explicitly stated there is because that is not what the whole initiative is about. It is not specifically targeting that thing that you keep saying that it is. I don't know how that never clicked.
But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single player experience, and then taking away support in the future.
Now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single player games are advertised. What is he doing?
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single player game, but adding online only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
This is a really strong section from Ross here because the clips that you saw moments ago were from his stream. When he took more time to watch it and digest it, he still came back in that video misrepresenting it. Like, it never dawned on him. Like, on stream, he could write it off as like, oh, he didn't grasp it at the moment, maybe later on he did. Well, then he made the video where he still was talking about things that are just
He knows
not
what he's
Stop
doing.
Killing
He knows
Games
what
was
he's
about.
doing.
And this was the one that really blew up and really started to kind of dismantle the Stop Killing Games momentum.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now. We're not against them existing. We're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer.
Pirate Software then goes on to talk about like the business practice of misleading consumers into thinking that what they're buying is a product as opposed to a license to a product, which is a totally separate thing. And then he criticizes Stop Killing Games for not being specific about that thing that he is bringing up as opposed to what Stop Killing Games is talking about. So he's using that against them for some reason. And then Ross goes into like the license talk.
Our problem is not with licenses failing to inform people. Blizzard says they can take away your purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely. This needs regulation. Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years, when you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do neither of those.
He's exactly right. That is a huge problem. Now, Pirate Software is correct here about these companies that will mislead consumers through this fraudulent advertising on what you're actually buying, because in a lot of cases, you don't own any of the shit that you're buying. It is pretty much a rental. You get a permission slip to access the content. That is an issue, and not making it abundantly clear to consumers that that is what you are buying is a problem. And so too is the actual agreements, as Ross demonstrates with Blizzard, where it
Maybe
says
we
they
should
can
make.
just
Maybe you can just make every game service based. You know, you're not buying the game. You're just buying the service of the game. You know, you don't actually own it. You just accept the service of the game to enjoy it for the certain period.
completely terminate it for no reason at all. It really does go against the basic idea of commerce entirely.
And Blizzard could completely just turn off your stuff out of nowhere, like it said here. Blizzard reserves the right to terminate this agreement at any time for any reason or for no reason. That's fucked up. For no reason, with or without notice to you. That's not great. That's why would they even add that? Maybe there should be a reason to add such a thing that for no reason is crazy. Without notice to you is, oh come on. That's hard. Wow.
Our problem is those terms
It shows how much greedy they are. Like they have so much power, even though they are the one giving us service with their game. At the end of the day, they're not serving us. They're just using us to make money. They have this huge power complexity, maybe, to do whatever the fuck they want to build their narrative.
are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be
For purpose of explanation and not limitation, most account suspension and termination are the result of violations of this agreement. In case of minor violation for the rules, Blizzard may provide you with a prior warning and suspends you for use of the account due to a non-compliant prior for the termination. Okay.
taken off
They
the
just keep adding more words to it and like, oh, we might give you a warning, but at the end of the day, we're gonna kick you out, even though you paid for it.
table entirely. This needs regulation. Forget
Abundantly clear to consumers that that is what you are buying is a problem, and so too is the actual agreements, as Ross demonstrates with Blizzard, where it says they can just completely terminate it for no reason at all. It really does go against the basic idea of commerce entirely. Video games are in a totally different ball game when it comes to that, because half the time you don't realize that you're just buying an admission ticket to a game. You're not actually buying the game. You also don't know how long that's going to last. Again, to go back to Concord, that shit lasted less than a fucking,
It's a good thing I didn't buy Concord though. I knew that. I mean, people hated on the DEI. They hated on the design. As an artist myself, okay, I know I keep saying that, but come on, I appreciate every style. Okay, sometimes it's bad. You don't look good, but there's some guy who sat down and designed it and said this looks good for me, and another guy approved it, and then another guy installed it into the game. So there was a due process and they liked it. There should be some people out there who would have liked that art. And today in this business age, you should always think about what others would like it or not you like it or not. I think that's the problem with Concord. Concord could have been a great game instead of thinking this is the design that we're gonna put out. Instead, they should have thought what others wanted, and that's what people are talking about. The character should be sexy, thin. I don't give a fuck about that. I personally do not care. Make it as ugly as possible, but make it cool. When I look at this character, when it's completely ugly, I would lose interest. But if it's still ugly and looks cool and interesting, people would still buy it. People would be like these edgy guys on the internet would probably love it. You know the edgy guys I'm talking about, right? The Concord could have been a great game, but the design absolutely sucked because they only thought about what they like instead of thinking what people would like. Every art has a market. If you are in a business that needs money, you need to make that art as a business that everyone should like it, everyone would should able to buy it. It doesn't matter how pathetic you think it is, you got to do what you had to do. There are so many things. Even I'm working in a shop myself, sometimes I don't know if I can talk about it. So I would make a creative change, and then my lead or someone would say like, no, we don't like it, you need to change it. It makes me sad, but that doesn't make me like I'm going to fight and say like, no, 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 this is the most beautiful thing I made, you had to put it in because I like it. No, that's not going to work. At the end of the day, the director or the supervisor is the one who's doing the alter. That's their job. Okay. I The problem with Concord was nobody was there to steer it in the right way. I think it's not just the problem of the artist. I think the whole company went through a bad route. It start from the top, right? The people who basically directed the game did not change it. People who were supervisors, they did not change it. People who are supervisors who had experience before, they didn't think about it too. Because when you look at the designs, it's just so boring. The colors were so boring, especially when you're playing shooter games. Shooter games are high octane. People would be hopped up on fucking Red Bull monsters and wanted something so edgy and crazy, not some boring shit.
Oh, fucking rainstorm.
I don't know why I was talking about Concord right now. Why did I do that?
Basically, like there is just so many problems. So I don't know why Pirate Software would be so harsh on Stop Killing Games for not addressing specific things that he himself is bringing up or making up in regards to it. It just doesn't compute. It really is a video that did significant damage to an actually positive initiative that aimed to help consumers in the video game space. All based on his complete misrepresentation of it, which was a complete mess.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Oh no! He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters.
What the initiative would not do requires publishers to give up initial priority rights. Yeah. It requires publisher to give up source code.
That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out.
That's the last clip I want to show from this section on the Pirate Software.
I mean,
video,
kind
but
of proves that Pirate Software was doing it on purpose now. I was trying to defend him. Right? Come on. I want to see other people's perspective on things. I get it. When people hate on something, people like to dogpile on them. But I want to see their perspective on what they're trying to do. But this one feels like kind of targeted, and I think Pirate needs to give an explanation why he did what he did.
it's a very important one because this is something a lot of people also think the Stop Killing Games initiative is about, where developers, publishers will have to support their games forever. Like, until the fucking heat death of the universe, they'll have to support these games under the initiative. When that is not the case. It is very simply asking that when the game has reached the end of its life cycle, the publishers, developers don't want to work on it any longer, to turn it over to the community to still be in a playable, accessible state so the product can still exist. There is some more nuance, obviously, to how that works, given like publisher developer licensing and a lot of like the code, the binary, that kind of thing. There is a lot at play under the hood there, of course, but it is something that Stop Killing Games isn't naive to, and it is something that is.
You know what I can say? I think that we could like what if they sell it to a smaller company? A big gaming company is stopping the service, right? What if they sell like the license or something to a smaller company that can run the service for people where they get paid for it? You can't have thousands of people, so it's gonna be like a really smaller company which would run the server for them, get paid. It would be good for business. It's just instead of just closing it and going away, turn it towards the people who would do that for them. There is always opportunity when there is a space to make money, man. And gaming is a big spot. You can make a lot of money, especially when online stuff is going on. People are ready to give you money and keep playing the game. I mean, if a game completely sucks like Concord, yes, of course, just shut the shit up and move on. But think it should have a right. It like for example, how internet become a basic right today in day-to-day life. If you shut down internet, your government is literally, Hitler, right? They always have to give you internet access if they cut it. I think gaming has come to the spot like you can't just cut it out. Even there is like a really low number of players, like 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 players. Let them keep playing because they paid for it. They want to keep using it. There should always be an option to keep going instead of just stopping it.
Talked about, but I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I encourage you to check more in on it. But this whole belief that it is about endlessly supporting a live service game, even when it makes no sense to do so and it's beyond dead and in the dirt, is ridiculous, because that is not what it is asking for. And a lot of people think that it is. It's not. Pirate Software got that wrong as well. Anyway, I'll stop yapping about it, but as mentioned in the beginning, most of Stop Killing Games hasn't been successful in getting change. And Ross has dedicated so much of his life to this, and it's clearly taken a big toll. Now he's doing everything he can for this last ditch push to try and help. And there are two big things coming up that can do so. And it's what I linked at the very beginning of the stream, at the very beginning of the video about the resources in the description. It's in regards to this.
One is for the UK to sign a government petition to bring this issue before Parliament. Though, keeping it real, I'm not terribly optimistic about this one, since the government response has been a mess by every definition. But the one that has a lot of power, so much so I think it could change the course of gaming history, is the European Citizens Initiative.
Ooh.
Now, I said I'm approaching this like a time traveler because with the trajectory we're on, these are both going to fail. Again, this one is crazy powerful, but the hurdle we just couldn't get past was that it requires 1 million signatures from citizens of EU countries. And we've only made it just under halfway. What a lot of people don't realize is that in the EU especially, it's almost a state of lawlessness regarding the practice of game destruction. Is that the vast majority of games with an online requirement say they can be terminated at any time for any reason. Or Blizzard likes to say any or no reason. But according to the EU Commission, that might be a violation of Directive 93/13 EEC, which protects consumers against unfair terms in consumer contracts. So if that term is unfair, that means that part of the contract is null and void.
He goes on to explain how powerful that can be because of what a mess that is. Because there is so much gray area with how the video games currently operate in regards to those protections, it would be a legal headache that would require an analysis of the laws or implementation of new laws that could lead to, hopefully, an improvement when it comes to gaming. So,
Okay, I want to know how many people live in European Union. $449 million. They're not even a billion people in Europe. What the fuck? Yeah, I mean, I thought there'd be at least a billion people. There are a billion people in India, and I hate the crowds, man. Just under 500 million is feels free. Even it's gonna be so free, right? They're not gonna be people around a lot. I think like maximum 50 people, max 50. Other than that, you're not gonna see any humans around you except you're in a big city. I'm completely grown up in big cities in India. There are so many people. There's always some kind of shit going on in the background. You keep hearing people talking, shouting, cooking, especially cooking. You know, early mornings people will be cooking their stuff in a pressure cooker. That thing whistles like crazy. I think now it's quieter. Back in the day, it like literally whistles. Like a whole street would hear you cooking in the pressure cooker. Man, just under 500 million for this huge spot. Now I see why people hate immigrants there. Imagine all of a sudden there are a billion people that just literally now that have added in. The white people would lose it.
the big hurdle was the signatures, needing 1 million, and currently it's at like 460,000, so it doesn't reach the threshold. I've been very vocal from the very beginning about how little faith I have in petitions, but that's just from the perspective of an American. In America, petitions are more worthless than toilet paper. You're better off just writing what you want on a note to Santa.
It's not just America, I think. I think every other bigger country, this is a problem. Power plays a bigger role than what a group of people want to happen. Until a political, political person wants to use your cause. maybe they can let it happen. Other than that, nothing is gonna happen, I think. Especially a big companies involved, $1 billion companies, they only care about making money, and if they say any kind of politician, they get bribe or some kind of support, they're not gonna do it until the courts understand what's going on. The judges would actually try to help us. Other than that, nothing is gonna happen, man.
Clause and shipping it to the North Pole than you are doing anything with a petition in this country. I don't know how different it is in the EU. Maybe it really is this powerful there that could lead to substantial change and improvement when it comes to games and preservation and all of what we've already talked about. Hopefully, I mean, that's really all that's left for the Stop Killing Games initiative, which sucks, but that's the position that it's in, unfortunately. And I wanted to talk about it because I really want to see something change with the games industry. I've said that so many times recently, but it's in such a sorry state.
Like I still don't understand where the VFX industry is going or the gaming industry is going. People keep saying that AI is gonna change everything. I don't know. Like number one, people are not watching movies anymore. People watch stuff on TV shows that and basically doom scrolling TikToks or reels. People are not watching movies like they used to. So things are gonna change a lot. Especially video games could be a big thing, but even video games are changing a lot. From the taste itself. Like I've been trying to play MMO, but I couldn't. Every time I'm think about it, it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be a bit more tiring for my mental health. So I put it off. Like after working for 8 hours, you just want to have some fun. Like if you imagine going on an adventure, your brain cannot, completely get immersive in it. So you rather play an FPS game than play an adventure game.
I mean, I'm talking big budget AAA space. Indies, I think, are absolutely crushing it, absolutely golden right now, and the gold.
Yep, I think I should get in on it, start playing indie games. I probably should give up AAA games for a while. A lot of failures and disappointments.
Golden age of indie games, but overall, in the big budget games and the way the industry keeps pushing things,
And let me add one more thing. People are starting to pirate a lot of games again. Maybe I'm too. I don't know if I can say it that on the YouTube video or not, but I have started pirating video games.
it sucks. So I wanted to talk about Stop Killing Games here. Hopefully, things can turn around and maybe a huge W's around the corner for the Stop Killing Games initiative. We'll see. But anyway, I want to commend Ross for his hard work spearheading all of this for so long. And that's really about it. See ya.
Okay. There's another video. I think basically the update on this. Okay, the Actman has made a video. Why won't he stop killing games? Maybe that's a whole another 20-minute video. Mhm. I thought I missed the Aspen Gold clip about this. Maybe not. He did a 51-minute video. Oh, I can't react to that. Oh, hell nah, hell nah. You know how big it is when even the retired PewDiePie is also talking about it? Come on. Okay, that's the reaction to the Stop Killing Games initiative from Moist Critical himself. I will upload. I think I'm gonna be streaming tonight. I'm gonna be streaming. I don't know what game I'm about to stream. Red Dead Redemption Part One or the previous one, not the new one. New one I'll play it after because it's a sequel. Because I need to play the first game and then I'll play the second game. Okay, bye. Like, subscribe, and comment about what do you think about it. Bye.